I found out my daughter got married when she called asking why her payment didn't go through. Not congratulations. Not even a heads up. She was engaged. Just add. The transfer didn't hit my account. What's going on? Like I was her bank's customer service. I'm 58 and I've been supporting this kid since she was 7. Apparently, I was good enough to fund her life, but not good enough to get a wedding invitation. I told her I'd look into it and hung up. Then I just sat there staring at my phone, feeling something crack inside my chest. I'd noticed she'd been distant for months. Always busy when I called. One-word texts excuses. Last month, she said she was out of town, but her car was parked at her apartment when I drove by. I sent her extra money for her birthday to buy a new laptop and got a heart emoji in response. No call, no real thanks. I kept telling myself I was being too sensitive, that she was just busy with adult life. Turns out I was funding a wedding I wasn't invited to. I adopted her at 7. Her biological father was never around and my ex-wife left when she was 9. Moved 4 states away for some guy. So, it was just me and this scared little girl. I worked doubles, picked up weekend shifts, made sure she had everything. Dance classes, summer camps, college fund, helped with homework every night, drove her to sleepovers, picked her up from parties. When she got into an out-of-state college that cost $40,000 a year, I made it happen. Took loans, adjusted my retirement, but I made it happen because that's what you do. After graduation, I co-signed her apartment lease, bought her furniture, got her a car when hers died, kept her on my insurance, sent monthly support while she got established. 25 years of every decision factoring her in every budget, every plan. She was the center of everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, I went to my office and pulled financial records. Started adding everything up. Adoption fees, child support I paid before my ex signed away her rights, school costs, college tuition, the car, apartment deposits, monthly support for 3 years after graduation, medical expenses. When I finally calculated the total, I felt sick. 6 figures, money that could have been a house, a retirement fund, actual security. I'd given it willingly because I thought I was building a relationship that mattered. Then I found her Instagram on my old tablet where I was still logged in. The wedding photos were public on some hashtag page. 60 people there. Full ceremony at a vineyard. Bridesmaids reception with a DJ. My ex-wife was in the photos. The woman who abandoned her standing right there smiling in an expensive dress. Friends I'd met before. Her old roommate I'd helped move. All these people watching her get married. And I didn't even know the guy's name. There was a photo of her dancing with some older man, probably her husband's father, captioned about being grateful for family. I paid for the degree that got her the job. I paid for the apartment where she probably met this guy. I paid for the car she drove to the venue. And I wasn't family enough for a text message. I didn't call her or send angry messages. Monday morning, I led the automatic transfer. Called the insurance company and removed her from my policies. Removed her as an authorized user on my credit card. Called her landlord about getting off the cosign. He wasn't happy, but I had documentation. Moved her phone to her own account. Canceled the gym membership I'd been covering. Changed all the streaming passwords. It took a week to untangle everything. I wasn't angry exactly, just finally seeing clearly that I'd been volunteering for a role nobody wanted me in. She didn't call to check on me those first days. The silence was so normal it hurt worse. Made me realize how one-sided everything had been. Day 6, her credit card got declined. Day 7, the transfer didn't hit. Day 8, my phone finally rang. Her voice was tense. Hey, something's wrong with my accounts. Did you change something? Not hello, not how are you. Just straight to the money. I told her, yeah, I'd made changes. Pause. What kind of changes? I explained I'd removed her from everything. Stopped the support. Another pause. Why would you do that? Like I'd done something unreasonable. I said I figured she didn't need it anymore. She's married now. Clearly has her own life. She started to respond, but I was done. Told her I had to go and hung up. The phone rang 4 more times. Then the text started. I didn't read them, just turned my phone off and sat in my quiet garage, surrounded by tools I'd collected over 30 years, feeling absolutely nothing. The texts kept coming for 3 days. Confused at first, then urgent. Her rent bounced. Car insurance lapsed. The university froze her account. I didn't respond. Every message just confirmed she only needed me for money. Day 4, she showed up at my house. I pulled into the driveway and her car was already there. She got out before I'd even closed my truck door. Walked right up. "We need to talk about this." Hair messy, no makeup, sweatpants. I grabbed my bag and walked past her. She followed me inside, talking about how I was being unreasonable, how she had bills and responsibilities. I finally asked when the wedding was. She stopped, tried to play it down, said it was small, last minute, barely anyone there. I told her I saw the photos, knew her mother was there, knew it was fully planned. Her expression shifted, got defensive, said it was complicated, that I wouldn't understand, that she'd wanted to keep it simple without family drama. Something in me went cold. I asked what drama there could be when she didn't tell the family. She started crying, said I'd been too controlling, always wanting updates, making her feel guilty, that she needed space without me hovering. I asked if the monthly deposits were hovering, if paying her insurance was controlling. She didn't answer, just kept crying. I told her the money stopping wasn't punishment, just reality. She's married, has a partner, doesn't want me in her life, so there's no reason to keep funding it. She asked how I could be so cold. I almost laughed. Cole was finding out from a failed bank transfer. She left fast, tires squealing. Her husband, Aaron, had no idea how much I'd been supporting her. She told him she was financially independent, had her own career. When everything started bouncing, he asked questions. Then the landlord called about the cosigner and Aaron answered her phone. Found out her father had been guaranteeing her lease because she didn't qualify a loan that her car was in my name. Her graduate program was being funded by my account. He called me directly, polite, said he needed to understand what was going on. I gave him the short version, long silence. He asked how much monthly. I told him another silence. He thanked me and hung up. That call started a whole thing in their marriage. Aaron's sister found old photos I'd posted over the years. Her graduation where I'd written about how proud I was, her college acceptance, father-daughter pictures from dance recital. The sister showed Aaron and he realized my daughter had told everyone she'd had an absent father and raised herself. That she'd worked through college, built her career from nothing, was completely self-made. The photos showed different. So did the financial trail. Her tuition auto-paying for my account, cosigner on her lease, my name on her car title, everything she'd built her identity on had my fingerprints, and she'd airbrushed me out completely. Aaron's family asked questions. Why wasn't her father at the wedding if they had that relationship? His mother kept bringing it up. My daughter tried explaining we'd had a falling out, that I was difficult, but someone found her college graduation speech from 3 years ago, thanking me by name for everything I'd sacrificed. Hard to square with the absent father story. Aaron confronted her. She admitted she'd lied. Said she was embarrassed about being dependent. Wanted to seem capable. He asked why she didn't just invite me then. No good answer. Asked when she'd last had a real conversation with me that wasn't about money. She couldn't remember. By mid-October, their marriage was hanging by a thread. Aaron moved his brother's place. Not because of the money, but because of the lying. She'd built their relationship on a false version of herself. My daughter called me late one night drunk, sobbing that I'd ruined everything, that Aaron was leaving and it was my fault. I asked how me stopping payments made her look bad unless she'd been lying about it. She hung up, called back 10 minutes later apologizing, asking me to please help fix it. Just cover rent for a few months, maybe talk to Aaron. I said no, told her I'd spent 25 years helping and I was done, that she needed to figure this out herself. She cried and I felt nothing, just empty space where that parental instinct used to be. I hung up, changed my number the next day. Without that $1,800 a month, reality hit fast. She made $60,000 a year, but lived like she made twice that. Nice apartment, ate out constantly, bought clothes, and took trips. My money was just free spending cash. Her rent alone was $2,000. With car payment, insurance, utilities, student loans, she was upside down immediately. Her mother refused to help. She started selling things. The furniture I'd bought, jewelry, her camera, not enough. By November, she'd moved into a room in a shared house with roommates. Had to rehome her cat, dropped graduate courses. Erin filed for annulment in early December, citing fraud about her financial situation and family circumstances. Wedding guests asked for gifts back. She didn't have money to return anything. Her social media went quiet. Someone mentioned she looked rough, was working a second job weekends at the mall. I wasn't obsessing over her downfall. I was doing better than I had in years. The money I'd sent her went into savings now. Paid off my truck in January. Put extra toward my mortgage. Took a vacation by myself. Went skiing in Colorado. My life felt mine again. I started a scholarship fund through the community college for students from single-parent households. Partnered with a nonprofit helping foster kids. Quiet contributions to people who needed help and would appreciate it. It felt right in a way sending money to my daughter never had. She sent a letter in March, handwritten for pages, all apology, said she understood now what I'd done, that she'd been selfish, had rewritten history, and it cost her everything. Erin was gone. Her nice life was gone, working 2 jobs, barely making it. She didn't ask for money, just said sorry and hoped I could forgive her. The letter sat on my counter for 3 days. Part of me wanted to believe it was real, but I remembered that first phone call about the missing payment. Remembered the wedding. I drafted responses, but never sent them. Filed the letter away. Some things you can't fix with sorry. Week later, my lawyer called. My daughter had reached out asking if there was legal way to compel me to reinstate support. He told her no, she's an adult, but wanted to give me a heads up. Even after the apology letter, she was looking for an angle to get money flowing again. It wasn't about the relationship, just restoring the financial arrangement. The annulment went through in April. Erin's brother mentioned it in passing, said Erin was relieved and moving on. I nodded, didn't ask about her, but information finds you anyway. A woman I'd been dating mentioned seeing my daughter at the grocery store looking exhausted in a work uniform. Said she barely recognized her. I just said things have been tough and changed the subject. For the first time, she was experiencing what it took to survive without a safety net. That wasn't my responsibility to cushion anymore. My life kept improving. The scholarship fund gave out first awards in May. 3 students getting $5,000 each. I met them at the ceremony. Kids who reminded me of my daughter at that age, except they were grateful. One girl whose mom was raising her and 2 siblings on a waitress salary teared up thanking me. Said this meant she could quit her night job and focus on classes. I drove home feeling like my money was actually making a difference. Started expanding the fund, adding mentorship for construction trades. The nonprofit asked me to join their board. I was building something real. Summer came with no word from my daughter for months. Then in July, a LinkedIn message said she'd been doing therapy, working on herself, wanted to meet for coffee. No expectations. I looked at it for a long time and closed LinkedIn without responding. Days later, another message saying she understood if I didn't want to meet. I archived both. What I didn't know was she'd been evicted. Tried going to her mother, but that door was closed. Couch surfed with friends until that wore out. Ended up in an extended stay motel renting by the week. Lost one job when her car got repossessed. A former roommate reached out in August worried. Sent a photo of my daughter at a bus stop looking thin and defeated. I thanked her and didn't do anything with it. Helping would just enable avoiding real change. In September, I sold my house. Too big, too full of memories. Bought a smaller place outside the city on a couple acres with room for a workshop. The move felt symbolic, physically leaving that chapter behind. Started taking creative projects, custom furniture, and restoration work I enjoyed. Started dating someone seriously, Julie, who owned a bookstore. She knew my situation, didn't judge or try to fix it. We took things slow. It was easy. October, I got an email from my daughter through my work address. Said she was living in her car, had lost everything, knew she'd done this to herself, but was scared. Wasn't asking for money, just advice on how to climb out. Said she'd been going to free therapy and finally understood how badly she'd messed up. Said she loved me and was sorry. I read it twice, went for a long walk thinking. Julie asked what I'd do. I said I didn't know. She said that was okay. I sat with it a week. The truth was I didn't trust her. Not with money, not with my emotions. She'd proven I was only valuable as a resource. One email from rock bottom didn't erase that. But completely cutting her off forever felt wrong too. I compromised. Sent a short email saying I got her message. Was sorry she was struggling. Gave her a number for social services I'd worked with. Told her they could help with emergency housing and job placement. Told her I hoped she turned things around. Didn't offer to meet. Didn't send money. Just pointed her toward help that wasn't me. She thanked me. Said she'd call them. I don't know if she did. Around Thanksgiving, Julie asked if I'd heard from her. I said no, and that was fine. We had dinner at her place with her kids and families. Warm, chaotic gathering of people who wanted to be around each other. I didn't miss the old holidays. This was better. Being wanted, being chosen, being reciprocal. Julie's daughter asked about my woodworking, got excited, asked me to teach her. We made plans. Such a small, normal interaction, but it felt different from everything with my daughter where everything had been transactional. December my company had its best year. Custom work was taking off. Hired 2 young guys to help. Started teaching them. The scholarship fund gave winter awards. The nonprofit asked me to join their board. I was building something that mattered. Nothing to do with obligation or earning love. Christmas Eve. I was finishing a rocking chair commission when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Merry Christmas, Dad. I stared at it, thought about all the Christmas mornings I'd made special, set the phone down, and went back to sanding. It didn't buzz again. I finished the chair as sunset, stepped back to look at it. Good work, solid and beautiful, something that would last. Something I'd built that had value independent of anyone's approval. Locked up and walked back where Julie was waiting. The phone stayed quiet and I was okay with that. I was free. New year, I resolved to stop checking for messages from her. Took effort at first, but got easier. By February, I could go days without thinking about her. Business grew. Scholarship fund was making impact. Julie and I talked about moving in together. My life was full in ways it hadn't been when focused on being needed by someone who didn't want me. Spring came and I was planning a trip to meet Julie's son in Oregon. My work phone rang. Case manager from the social services I'd referred my daughter to. Said my daughter had asked her to call. Wanted me to know she'd completed job training. Got placed in a stable position with benefits, living in a sober house, working on mental health. Didn't expect anything, but wanted me to know she was trying. I thanked her and hung up. Told Julie later. She asked how I felt. I said I didn't know. Glad she was getting help, maybe. Not convinced it would stick. Not interested in getting pulled back in. The thing about letting go is it's a series of small choices, daily decisions to not engage, to not rescue, to not answer. You make the choice over and over until it becomes automatic. That's where I was by summer. Comfortable in my boundaries. Genuinely happy. Expanded the scholarship fund again. Added housing stipend for foster kids. Did a fundraiser that helped a dozen kids. This was what parenting should feel like. Investment that mattered. Gratitude that was real. Late summer, I heard she'd moved to a different city, somewhere cheaper, still working her program, building something stable. I felt nothing, just distant acknowledgement she existed somewhere. We'd become strangers. You can't maintain a relationship by yourself. Julie and I got engaged in October. Small private thing on a hike at sunrise. Her kids were thrilled. I felt settled. We set a date for spring. Started planning simple ceremony with close family and friends. People asked if I'd invite my daughter. I said no without hesitation. This was my new beginning. Julie supported it completely. Sometimes late at night, I'd think about that 7-year-old girl I'd adopted, so scared and hurt. Wonder when she'd turned into someone who calculated relationships in dollars. Whether I'd failed her somehow, but those thoughts didn't stick. I'd done my best. Given everything I had, that it wasn't enough wasn't on me anymore. I'd released that weight. The workshop was calling. Students needed mentoring. Julie was planning seating charts. Life was moving forward. I was moving with it. Finally, after years of standing still waiting for someone to notice I was there, I noticed that was enough. Well, today's story was a heavy one. Not loud, not explosive, just uncomfortable in a very real way. A father who spent most of his life making sure his daughter never had to worry about money. And a daughter who didn't realize what she was risking until the support stopped. There's no clear villain here, just hurt, pride, and consequences. So, what do you think?